So I was just rereading an article by my friend Daniel Calcutt, on designer death or euthanasia. Currently, in a radio talk he gave, he was talking about how euthanasia is considered a lot around the world for someone who is really near death or would be in a persistent vegetative state or something like that. And I have experience with that with my father. He had cancer and it was terrible. And he wasn't going to be anything like he would have wanted. So, we turned the machines off. That was in 2005. And, we still miss him. Yeah, I wish right now I could talk to him and tell him so many things, ask him so many questions. But so that kind of euthanasia is usually allowed. But the kind that Callcut is talking about is more like, well, you know what? I think I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna throw a party. Y'all gonna come, say your goodbyes, and I'm gonna die. Some people, and they may actually agree with that. Certainly, seems like Dan does. But in my experience, in my context here, he lives in the United Kingdom. Dan lives in the United Kingdom, and I live here in Florida, and Seminole Nation on Turtle Island. But anyway, in our context here, there's a law in Florida called the Baker Act, and you can be forcibly treated for mental health if you want to die, if you just are suicidal. Um, and so it's considered a mental health issue here, which Calcut, I believe, might know about, but I'm not exactly sure. Um, in any event, I guess I'm throwing some objections his way, and I encourage you to read his article, consider my objections, and see what else you think. Because I believe anyone can do philosophy. Is you got to think right and have the right attitude. But in any event, if someone wants to die and they're otherwise healthy physically, it's usually a sign of some mental illness or something terrible in their life, that could be fixed. And so, I'm not trying to throw a religious objection, but it seems like life is better than non-life, and I would pick life. Well, except that I tried to kill myself last year, and I'm glad I'm alive. Thankfully, someone else was my next of kin and kept me alive. So anyway, I thought I'd raise those objections to you rather than just let his article lie. And you know, the United Kingdom has the right to die now, and we don't in the United States or in any native nations that I know of. So yeah, that's them, that's us.